On March 28, 2025 at approximately 12:50 p.m. local time, a catastrophic 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck central Myanmar, with its epicenter located 17 kilometers southeast of Mandalay, the country's second-largest city. This seismic event, one of the most powerful to hit Myanmar in over a century, unleashed widespread destruction across multiple regions, including Mandalay, Sagaing, Naypyidaw, Bago, and southern Shan State. The quake's effects rippled beyond Myanmar's borders, causing significant damage in neighboring Thailand, particularly in Bangkok, where a high-rise under construction collapsed. As of April 5, 2025, the death toll in Myanmar has surpassed 3,000, with thousands injured and many still missing, marking this as the deadliest natural disaster in the region in recent memory. This report provides an in-depth examination of what happened, the geological causes, the aftershock sequence, and the international aid response, shedding light on the scale of the crisis and its implications for a nation already burdened by conflict and poverty. The earthquake struck with ferocious intensity, its shallow depth of 10 kilometers amplifying the surface shaking. In Mandalay, a city of 1.5 million people steeped in historical and cultural significance, the devastation was immediate and profound. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble, with multi-story apartment blocks, monasteries, and pagodas collapsing under the force. Satellite imagery revealed countless buildings destroyed, including the iconic Mandalay Palace, which sustained significant damage. The Ava Bridge, a vital road and rail link over the Irrawaddy River, buckled and fell, severing a key transportation artery and isolating communities near the epicenter in Sagaing. In Naypyidaw, Myanmar's purpose-built capital 270 kilometers south of Mandalay, the quake toppled buildings, including a 3-story hospital where patients were trapped beneath debris. The Naypyidaw International Airport's control tower collapsed, rendering it inoperable and complicating early relief efforts. Across the affected regions, Sagaing, Mandalay, Magway, Bago, and Shan, roads cracked, bridges failed, and power lines fell, plunging entire areas into darkness and disrupting communication networks. The Myanmar military junta declared a state of emergency in 6 regions, acknowledging the scale of destruction that left over 2,900 buildings, 30 roads, and 7 bridges damaged, according to initial assessments by the opposition National Unity Government, NUG. Beyond Myanmar, the quake's reach was felt across Southeast Asia. In Bangkok, 600 miles from the epicenter, a 33-story skyscraper under construction in the Chatuchak district crumbled, killing at least 18 construction workers and trapping dozens more. Tremors were reported as far away as Bangladesh, Vietnam, and southern China, where minor injuries occurred in the border city of Ruili. The human toll in Myanmar climbed rapidly. By March 29, the junta reported 1,644 deaths, a figure that rose to over 3,000 by April 5, as rescue teams uncovered more bodies. Over 4,700 people were injured, and hundreds remained unaccounted for, with the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, estimating that the final death toll could exceed 10,000, given the population density and poor building standards in the affected areas. Survivors recounted harrowing experiences. In Mandalay, a pregnant woman named Su Wai Lin escaped with her family, only to lose her husband when he re-entered their collapsing apartment to save a neighbor. Volunteer rescuers like Myo Za worked tirelessly, pulling a 12-year-old girl from rubble after hours of digging with bare hands, a testament to the lack of heavy machinery and organized response in the immediate aftermath. Hospitals, overwhelmed and under-resourced, treated patients outdoors as buildings became unsafe, while fires sparked by the quake razed entire wards in Mandalay, adding to the chaos. The timing of the disaster compounded Myanmar's existing crises. A civil war, following a 2021 military coup, had already displaced over 3 million people and strained the nation's economy and infrastructure. The earthquake struck a population already grappling with food insecurity, with 15 million people hungry, and 20 million in need of humanitarian aid before the disaster. The Red Cross described the level of devastation as unprecedented in Asia in over a century, a grim echo of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. The earthquake's origins lie in Myanmar's precarious position atop one of the world's most seismically active zones. The country sits at the boundary of the India and Eurasia tectonic plates, where the India plate is sliding northward and subducting beneath the Burma microplate, a process that generates immense geological stress. The specific fault responsible was the Zagaing Fault, a 1,200-kilometer-long strike-slip fault running north to south through Myanmar, passing near major cities like Mandalay and Yangon. Strike-slip faults involve horizontal movement, where two blocks of the Earth's crust slide past each other, often producing shallow but highly destructive quakes. The USGS classified the March 28 event as a shallow earthquake, with its hypocenter at 10 kilometers depth. Shallow quakes release energy closer to the surface, intensifying ground shaking and increasing damage compared to deeper events. Seismologist Will Yek of the USGS noted that the quake's energy was equivalent to 334 atomic bombs, a measure of its destructive potential. Myanmar's history of seismic activity includes a 7.9 magnitude quake in 1912 near Tongji and a 7.3 magnitude event in 1930 in Bago, which killed over 550 people. However, the 2025 quake's proximity to densely populated urban centers like Mandalay amplified its impact. Rapid urbanization in Myanmar over recent decades has heightened vulnerability. Many buildings, especially high-rises constructed with reinforced concrete, were not designed to withstand such forces, a problem exacerbated by lax enforcement of building codes under the military regime. Experts likened the potential destruction to the 2023 Turkey-Syria earthquake, where unregulated construction led to massive losses. The combination of geological risk and human factors, poor infrastructure, overcrowding and inadequate preparedness, created a perfect storm of devastation. Following the main shock, Myanmar experienced a series of aftershocks that prolonged the crisis. The most significant was a 6.4 magnitude event just 11 minutes after the initial quake, centered near Mandalay, which caused additional collapses and heightened panic. By April 3rd, the USGS had recorded 14 aftershocks ranging from 3 to 6.7 in magnitude, with a notable 4.1 magnitude tremor on March 31st, triggering further damage in Mandalay. Aftershocks are typical following large earthquakes, representing minor adjustments along the fault as stress redistributes. The USGS warned of a 40% chance of magnitude 6 or greater aftershocks in the first week, dropping to 9% by April 2nd, though magnitude 5 events remained likely at a 60% probability. These aftershocks kept residents on edge, with many in Mandalay and Naypyidaw sleeping on streets or in open fields, fearing further collapses. A resident northwest of Mandalay described a 5.1 magnitude aftershock on March 30th as the strongest felt since the main event, underscoring the ongoing terror. The UN reported that aftershocks complicated rescue efforts, as unstable structures posed risks to workers and survivors alike. In Thailand, initial fears of aftershock-related damage in Bangkok were dismissed as a false alarm, with authorities confirming that reported cracks predated March 31st. The USGS predicted that aftershocks could persist for weeks, months, or even years, a sobering prospect for a region struggling to recover. The fault rupture, estimated at 460 kilometers based on satellite imagery and seismic data, indicated a massive slip area, suggesting prolonged seismic activity. This extended period of instability threatens to delay rebuilding efforts and exacerbate humanitarian needs, particularly as the monsoon season approaches, raising risks of landslides and disease outbreaks. The scale of the disaster prompted an unprecedented response from Myanmar's military junta, which issued a rare appeal for international aid, a departure from its historical reluctance during crises like Cyclone Nargis in 2008. The response was swift and multifaceted, with neighboring countries and global organizations stepping in to fill the void left by Myanmar's depleted resources and ongoing conflict. China emerged as a dominant player, leveraging its proximity and alliance with the junta. Within 18 hours, Chinese teams arrived in Mandalay, with over 600 personnel, including medical workers, earthquake experts, and rescue dogs, deployed across affected areas. Beijing pledged $14 million in aid, delivering tents, blankets, and medical kits to Yangon by April 1st. Chinese rescuers pulled survivors from rubble, including a woman trapped for 60 hours in Mandalay's Great Wall Hotel, earning praise on social media and bolstering China's image in a country where its support for the junta had previously drawn criticism. India responded robustly, sending 15 tons of relief materials, a 118-member field hospital team, previously deployed to Turkey in 2023, and 80 search and rescue specialists on March 29th. 4 naval ships carried 40 tons of additional aid, while Indian teams recovered 16 bodies and treated 104 patients in Mandalay by April 3rd. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed solidarity with junta leader Min Aung Hlaing, balancing humanitarian outreach with India's call for democracy. Russia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand also contributed, dispatching plane loads of supplies and personnel. Russia sent rescue teams, while Thailand focused on aiding both Myanmar and its own affected areas, like Bangkok. Malaysia and Singapore provided logistical support and relief goods, enhancing regional cooperation. The United States, despite strained relations with the junta and recent cuts to USAID, pledged $2 million and deployed a 3-person assessment team. However, their entry was delayed as of April 1st, reflecting diminished U.S. capacity following budget reductions. The UN allocated $5 million initially, with agencies like the World Health Organization, WHO, rushing 60 tons of medical supplies, and the World Food Program, WFP, distributing high-energy biscuits in Naypyidaw. The Red Cross launched a $100 million appeal, while the EU offered €2.5 million and ASEAN deployed assessment teams. The March 28, 2025 Myanmar earthquake was a cataclysmic event that exposed the fragility of a nation already on the brink. Its shallow depth and location along the Zagaing Fault unleashed devastation on an unprecedented scale, compounded by aftershocks that prolonged the crisis. The international community's response, led by China, India, and regional partners, has provided critical support, yet logistical and political barriers hinder a full recovery. As Myanmar grapples with over 3,000 deaths, thousands injured, and a shattered infrastructure, the disaster underscores the urgent need for sustained global assistance and a resolution to the country's internal conflicts to rebuild and protect its people from future calamities. That's all for today. Please subscribe and keep watching Few Facts.